Hey, Mrparka here to review a new one from the guys over at Sleazebox, Chris Woods and director Sean Donahue. And I have actually reviewed this one before. It was Death-Scort Service, but there's something a little different about this edition. This is the shot-on video edition. Now, if you guys remember my first review, have checked it out or anything like that, I said this is probably one of the sleaziest, if not the sleaziest, newer horror film I've seen in such a long time. It is the epitome of sleaze. The shot-on video filter, they actually took it to a VCR twice to get the look, and it does add what they wanted to do is make it look sleazier and look like it was from that that dead era of like shot-on video movies from the late 80s, early 90s, and they succeeded in doing that. It makes it a little bit more sleazy, although it's kind of like putting extra cherries on top of a sundae that already has some. It's just kind of almost overkill on the sleaze, but regardless, if you guys aren't familiar with this movie, essentially what we have here is it's more minimal plot, to be honest, but there is a story going on in there, and kind of ties it together all in the end. But essentially we have a killer who is kind of mysterious, killing and slashing and kind of just disemboweling prostitutes in Las Vegas, although it is shot in Florida and it is obvious. Even the commentary on this will admit that. But it doesn't stop low-budget films. A lot of low-budget films are obviously like that. Regardless, the movie is non-stop violence and nudity and gore. It's kind of funny because all the men in the film appear to be just horribly creepy and perverted, but the ending kind of, flips that on its head a little bit, which is kind of cool. Regardless, I've never seen a movie, like I said, not since something like New York Ripper, with so much sleaze and nudity. This is actually only limited to 50 copies. This is number 44, and I believe they're sold out. So maybe there can be a second pressing of these if people are interested. But like I said, this isn't something that typically would even get made in this time frame. There's still people making like slasher movies and gory stuff like that, but this definitely does feel like it's from a different time era, to be honest. And what really pushes this movie forward for me is that there's a lot of homages, which I always enjoy seeing, and it's never boring at all, which is one of the -- rules of a horror film. You should never really bore the audience unless you're trying to do something completely different than just entertain and, shock them. But is the soundtrack. The soundtrack in here is by a guy they refer to as Tashi, and he worked with Tim Ritter on other stuff as well, and the soundtrack is marvelous. There's like hints in there from like, it definitely seems like Italian giallos, which I love, and the credits are really stylized in that way. It's just the whole film is really overly stylized, and although their inspirations are of much more popular horror films, it does show that they do enjoy good films. And regardless, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that watch this strictly for the nudity. And like I said, there's plenty of that. Although it is, a lot of times kind of disturbing nudity, people tied up, being tortured. The special effects in here, they said they had Marcus Cook, who's one of the top dogs out there for independent horror films, for one day. And he did some things. But the other special effects, they're not bad. And at the very least, they spray the blood when it needs to be sprayed. So if you're looking for something that's just dirty, sleazy, and just all around kind of shot on video kind of film, although it is better than a lot of the shot on video films I have seen years ago. But then check out Death-Scort Service, also a really great title. And not to mention, Joel D. Wynkoop is in here, which he's phenomenal in it, and he always is. He's like the guy that you can tell just gives 110% every time, and he's doing a shout out to his old character from Creep, which is a Tim Ritter movie where he's just over the top and crazy as hell, Angus Lynch. But regardless, this movie is like an hour and 22 minutes with really fun synth-esque scores, super bloody and super sleazy, filled with nudity. And it's not just topless things. It's nudity where you see everything, which is not too typical in a lot of horror films. Also, the actor Bob Glazier, who's in Amerikan Holocaust, is in it, and of course he gets nude. That's like his staple in horror films. But there's some silly things in here that I thought were almost a little too comical for the movie. And the acting ranges. Sometimes it's pretty good, other times it's bad. Some people are better at other things. A lot of the times they're better at being killed than delivering lines, but I won't really fault people for that. But this is Death-Scort Service. If you guys are interested, go over to the Sleazebach website, or I think Sean Donahue has a website. There'll be more information below. But I'm Mrparka. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.
What you are about to witness did happen.
No! 5 years back, there was this sweet young thing just breaking into the business. She was practically cut in half with some psycho.
Did they ever catch the guy?
No, they never did.
A killer is on the loose.
I'd like a date tonight.
Sure, what time?
And no one can stop him.
5 or 6 girls have been missing since last month.
Fight for your life. Fight for your soul.
I can't wait to see you, Michelle.
From the makers of Amerikan Holocaust and Die Die Delta Pi comes Death-Scort Service.